July the 11th, 2024. Guys, you're looking at the National Data Buoy Center, and it's got buoys around different oceans and everything, and it shows you if you've had a earthquake with a tsunami or something like that. And you know we had the 6.4, was it, quake up on the Cascadia fault zone. Now we've had more than that in the last few days, stronger, and we're going to look at that. But this one right now, we got active buoys. And guys, you know how dangerous this area is. You see that broken V there? That's part of the tip of the Pacific plate that broke off as our continent drifts over the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean moves, or the plate under the Pacific Ocean moves northeast. The U.S. is moving southwest. Now, let's look at this one. This is close to Seattle. It's 300 nautical miles northwest of Seattle. It's close to some very large areas, but what happened on that particular buoy, guys, and this is why I'm doing the video, you had a 65-plus foot drop within 15 seconds. You've got, here's your average depth. Right here is water column height, and this is that buoy that's going off 46,419. It was cruising along here, and then when you go from the blue lines and the green lines, the data increases in time. Then red lines, it goes from a 15-minute in blue to a 15-second segment. But that, looking at it at this scale, we've got 20 meters of drop. Then magnifying up that 15-second event, it's still the same 20 meters of drop suddenly. And this is a slip zone fault area, guys. This is the most dangerous type of fault that you can have, and the most dangerous type of slip. 20 meters, 65.61 feet, and that's what we saw. Now, because of the depth of the ocean there, it's even more remarkable that that event happened. So a quick slip in the Cascadia, as it's being pushed under the North American plate, and the Cascadia itself is the broken tip of the Pacific plate. But again, that was a very fast jolt. What I'm talking about, water depth, you got 2,815 meters, guys. So that's a lot of water. So if it's shallow, you can understand that much movement with a minor quake. But that's a lot of movement for that depth. In other words, a lot of water moved for a long way, because the slip is at the base of that 2,900 meters. Also, guys, very concerning, the 7.1 in the Philippines, and it was, what's so surprising about it, guys, it is 620 kilometers deep. What I think we're seeing with these big quakes, that one, of course, the Cascadia, but we're having, and let me switch the map slightly here, we're also having some Atlantic Ridge plates that aren't on this map, but I'm going to change that where you'll see them, and around different sections outside of the Ring of Fire between Asia and North America. Iceland, we had one this week. All the way at the bottom, we had two, again, Atlantic Ridge, then one on either side, guys, in the 5s plus. What that's telling me is the Ring of Fire is always moving because you've got these continents surrounding it, but the North American plate is a crack in the entire surface of the planet, not just in one section. And that's telling me maybe it's got to do with the tilt of the Earth and magma movement. I looked, there's no, on any of these quakes, there was no solar impact as far as the coronal mass ejection. We've had steady 350 or so kilometers per second solar wind speed, no real blast. But one of the articles I was reading is they're talking about we're seeing more and more auroras, and that started happening when we had that big geomagnetic storm. They began to increase, and they're steadily getting bigger, and it's telling the scientists that our shields are growing weaker, and the Earth is absorbing more of that energy. Here, again, going back to Cascadia, guys, there is no tsunami warning, and it's not that big of a quake, but the way it happened and where it is very important. This thing has produced a 9, and they're saying it could do it again, a 9.0 earthquake. And it caused a 30-meter wave coming inland and was felt in Japan. Anyway, this is the Pacific plate. It is not actually moving to the left. It's more like the North American continent is moving over it, but it's sliding under the North American continent. But that when it had that 9-point fault before, when it went off and had a 9-point quake and that 30-meter tsunami, it was felt in Japan. Japan called it, I think maybe a ghost tsunami or something like that, because they had no idea where it came from, and then they started analyzing data on both continents, and it came from Cascadia. But there's so many people there now. Remember this name, Tofina, Canada. It's 238 kilometers west-southwest of Tofina. And Tofina is mentioned in some of the danger areas. Again, here is what we're looking at. You've got the San Andreas Fault that comes up out of California, and it was going straight up until that tip broke off of the Pacific Plate. Now you have the San Andreas Fault running up and the Cascadia Fault Zone. But they're saying it is capable of producing a 9.8 magnitude earthquake and tsunamis that could reach 30 meters or 98 feet. The Oregon Department of Energy Management estimates shaking would last 5 to 7 minutes along the coast, with strength and intensity decreasing further from the epicenter, of course. It is a very long sloping subduction zone where the Explorer, the Juan de Fuca, and the Gorda plates move to the east and slide below the much larger, mostly continental North American plate. That's what we're talking about. And this is the scenario. If another 9 goes off, this is what would be affected. And the red is very dangerous, very heavy, violent, severe, getting into the lighter oranges. And guys, the red areas are the most dangerous. And look at where Seattle, Victoria, and Vancouver is. A lot of that tsunami would be pushed and forced into that area. But it's red all along this coast. You know how many people are there now? Quite a bit. Guys, and I'm thinking it was around 300 years ago when that quake happened, a 9.0. And they're saying we're past time for that again. Again, what concerns me is we're seeing the large quakes, not just this one. You're talking about a 7.1, 7.2 down in the Philippine area. But what we're seeing overall, look at the overall picture. Things are heating up, more lava is moving, the earth is slightly tilting, and I think we're seeing some type of crustal displacement along the surface and underground magma movement as the earth continues to heat. As a matter of fact, I mentioned the auroras, and when we see these strong ones, guys, they produce ground currents just like when we see something hit the shields as far as a coronal mass ejection. But the aurora borealis, the auroras, they will heat the earth. In other words, when you see those brilliant lights, there's a cost to pay. And this energy has been transferred down into areas, especially in the northern hemisphere, because it's summertime now, and that the northern hemisphere is more tilted. But it's getting so intense. Look at what's happening. The big one is in the southern hemisphere, and then we got 3 quakes along the southern part of the mid-Atlantic ridge. And it's just right now is the time to watch all the danger zones. That's why I went in and took the time to refresh your memory on Cascadia. Everyone's aware of it. Everyone talks about it. But this one with that 65 or 60 foot or 66 foot drop, guys, was that caught my attention right away. I think we're seeing some early warning systems going off, and we need to heed them. Our Father's trying to get our attention and give us a little bit of a warning. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.